son of a richest man in Asia. I have everything. I can just call for anything and everything, but I'm suffering the most. I'm not happy, he said. He's standing next to his beautiful wife and he's telling all this. And I'm not happy. He's telling I have everything, but unfortunately, I cannot enjoy with this body because my body is giving me trouble. So, point is that whoever is the person has to go through this particular thing. There is anxiety, there is stress, there is lack of confidence, there is demoralization, and in all of this, the person is not clear what is he supposed to do. And then that's the reason this science of soul or science of Bhagavad Gita is very, very important. And what will happen, after hearing this particular knowledge, is that this is what is Arjuna. He's ready. He's taking out his arrow and bow. He's ready, and he emerged victorious. So every one of us wants to be victorious in life. Every one of us wants successful in life. So we have to follow this model of Arjuna, and then only we can go ahead in our life. But Arjuna emerged victorious. How? So I always tell this thing to a student that we should ask this question in our life. Which question? WH question. What are WH question? What, how, when, where? These are WH questions which we should ask. Like your friend is calling and let's go for a movie. So you you immediately pick up your bag and you move. You don't ask which movie, when, what, nothing. No, this. So any simple thing in our life or any complicated thing in our life, we must ask this WH question in our life. So that's why Arjuna emerged victorious. But how? So there are so many things happen in our life, and we must ask this question, how? And when we hear this knowledge, then we are very much benefited. So how Arjuna became victorious? Because he heard the knowledge of the soul from Lord Krishna. So if you see the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is speaking. Arjuna is telling his trouble, his anxiety, his depression, all of that. And the second chapter, Krishna starts talking about the science of soul. So that's the reason this particular session where we are sitting, we are immediately talking about science of soul because that's very important. And if we know who are we, what is the science of soul, it will benefit us like anything. And that's why this is very, very important. So what are the contents of this particular session today? We'll see that. Am I matter or am I spirit? Okay, the soul is matter or soul is spirit. That's what we see. The scientific proofs of existence of spirit soul. The difference between living person and robot. This is very important because robots also do so many activities. So we'll see what is the difference between a living person and robot. Mechanism of mind. Mind is something which is very, very important for us to study because this is playing a very key role in our life, and that's why we'll see the mechanism of mind and practical benefits of knowledge of the soul in everyday life. So these are the 5 topics we are going to focus on. So go ahead. Am I matter or am I spirit? So we should ask this question to ourselves. Who am I? Like if I ask you a question, who are you? What is your answer? You're a student, okay? Okay, I'm a human being. Yes. I'm Omkar. Yes. I also, that's what the first answer when I gave. Somebody asked me this question. Who are you? I said, I'm Kiran. That was my answer. Yes. Who are you? So confused? Servant. Okay, you are servant. So if you ask this question, who are we? Then this kind of answer comes. But very interestingly, this phenomena is this particular thing need to be studied. If this question is asked, who are you? Now he said, what he said, Samar? Student. He said student. But then Samar is going to be student throughout his life. After 4 years or 3 years, Samar is going to say that I am a working man. Like Krishna said, I am a human. That's right. He's going to be human in this life. But then what about next? Right. So our identities keep changing, and that's why this is very important to understand who am I. So who are you when it is asked? This is something which is very important. So we should actually think about this question. Who are I? Who am I? What is my duty? Why am I here? What am I supposed to do? If these questions are asked, then very small temporary answer comes, which keeps on changing. But then we should have a permanent answer about who am I or who are you. So let's see what scientists talk about, or some uh, philosophers talk about it. Dr. Harry Monson, professor of anatomy. Most of the human body is water. In 60 pounds person, there are about 5 pounds of calcium, 1.5 pounds of phosphate, 9 ounces of potassium, 6 ounces of sulfur and sodium, 1 ounce of magnesium, and less than 1 ounce each of the iron, copper, and the iodine. So, when we are talking about these chemicals, there was a theory, chemical theory, which we spoke about that this whole body is made up of chemicals. And then, you go and calculate these chemicals, this cost around 110 rupees. So your body cost is just 110 rupees. It's a new identity, new discovery. So really, my body is made up of chemicals. So go and collect all these chemicals. Now the calculation is with you. Collect all the chemicals and make bodies. Is that possible? That is not possible. We cannot. So that's why there is something which is a driving force. Even if this body is made up of chemical, if we accept chemical theory, there need to be a driving force inside, and that driving force is soul, which is very, very important. Otherwise, our cost is just now. Does that sound like? Please ask yourself: is this the essential stuff of your identity? You're just 110 rupees. No. So we are more than chemicals. That's very important. So what is our real identity? So she was considered as one of the very beautiful actress in her Bollywood industry. So when she was living, she was very, very, very beautiful. But then this was the situation when she was dead. After death, this was the situation. So this happens very commonly. After that person's situation, person's body is completely different. In fact, within few hours, the body starts deteriorating. So it's a very important aspect that understand that chemicals are the same, right? If you understand the chemical theory, the chemicals are same. But then this particular body which is there does not have a feelings, does not think, does not desire, no movement, no consciousness. What happened just few minutes before, a few seconds before, it was all moving, it was all conscious, it had some feelings, it had thinking. But then suddenly, as soon as it was announced dead, there was nothing. So this is something which is very important to understand. So this is a shloka which comes in Bhagavad Gita. It says about Najayate Mrete Va Kadachi Nayam Bhutva Bhavita Vanatuyo Ajo Nityam Ajo Nitya Shashvato Yo Purana Nahanyate Hanyamane Sharire. So this particular shloka, which was talking about the science of soul, this says Na Jayate Mrete Va Kadachi, that there is no birth, there is no death. Nayam Bhutva Bhavita Vanabhuya. This particular soul, there was no specific past, there was no future. Ajo Nityam Shashvatoyam Puranam. This particular soul is Nitya, it's eternal. And it is very, very Shashvato Purano, it is always permanent. And Purano, it's very old. Na Hanyate Hanyamane Sharire. You cannot kill, you cannot destroy this particular soul. So why is Krishna talking about this particular thing? Because Arjuna was thinking. Arjuna had this thought, no, मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ? मैं मारने वाला हूँ. I'm going to kill all my kinsmen. And if I'm going to kill my kinsmen, then I'll get the sin. So Krishna is telling, don't worry. There, the soul inside this body is permanent. Soul inside this body is eternal. And if the soul departs, the body is going to change. And that's why you should not worry about it. So Arjuna is told that for the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. So you see, there is this particular slide talks about body and soul. So, and you see from a small baby how the changes are happening. in the body. This also comes in the shloka in Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says that when you are born, now it's a very interesting aspect to see in our life. Like when you are born, you must be having some photo where you are 1 year or few months before, and then you going to school with a school bag and uniform, and then when you are 10-year-old and 15-year-old, and now some of you are 20, 21, 18, 20, 21-year-old. So when you see yourself, maybe when you're 1 year old, are you the same? Yes, we say, yes, I'm the same. But no, your size, your color, your body structure, everything was different. And that's what it said, that how a soul transformed from one body to another body. Like if you know that the biology talks about it, biology says that our whole body keeps changing, the complete body changes. In how much of time? How much period? Within less than 1 year. Less than 1 year, the whole body, all the species, all the cells in our body, every cell in the body completely changes. That according to biology. So if all the cells in the body, your cell and body should change, and that's the reason there is a transformation in our body. So when there is a transformation, this is how the soul transforms from one body to another. And similarly, from this body, that means what currently we are possessing, from this body, the soul will transform to next body, and that's why the science of soul is very, very important. So what is body? Body is matter. We just heard that if somebody is dead, what happens? It's a common sense. क्या बोलते हैं हम? What we call? We say that वो चले गए. That person is no more. What does that mean? The body is lying here. It is the same thing. But then what we say? No more. वो चले गए. He's not there. So there's a transformation, and then we have to understand this particular body's matter. Like we saw in the first slide, that the car needs driver. So car is just a matter till the time it has a driver. The car is going to move when the driver comes in. Even if somebody says, no, we have new cars, it does not need a driver. But then somebody is operating through the remote control, that's very much important. We cannot say the driver. So driver is always there. So till the time driver is not there, body is just a matter. But as soon as driver comes, it becomes a spirit. So spirit is something which is very important. The body does not have a consciousness. It is not conscious. But then soul is conscious. So the matter is not, this particular laptop, till the time I operate, you are not going to see anything on the screen. It is just a matter. As soon as I start operating, it is having a consciousness. Body keeps on changing, soul does not change. This is what is said. Body is temporary and soul is eternal. Body is dead and soul is alive. So if I, generally we go through this very regularly. Like, if somebody say that, आपका, you say, मेरा दांत दुख रहा है, मेरा हाथ दुख रहा है, मेरा सर दर्द हो रहा है, मेरे पैरों में दर्द हो रहा है. So when we say मेरा सर, मेरा हाथ, मेरा नाक, मेरे पैर, तो मेरा क्या है? What is this? My head is aching, my stomach is paining, my hands are aching. So what is this my? This is something which is very important to understand, and that's why that my is soul. That's very important. So when we say my or I, it is soul. And the whole body which is covering of all of this is just a dead matter. And that's why we have to understand this science, which is very, very important. You are not the body that you see in the mirror. You are Atma, soul, the real driver of this body, the car. So if somebody asks you, who are you? We should be able to answer that I am not this body, I am soul. Who are you? I am soul. And then this soul has an identity. The soul has many identities. It can be some earth, it can be Tejas, it can be anyone. It can be Kaustubh. So this soul has an identity. It can be engineer or doctor or lawyer, or it can be husband, wife, or it can be son. So many identities come. But before the identity, that is external thing, the internal thing is that I am not this body, I am soul. We are going to see much details about this particular. We are bodies made up of matter. We are no more than the chemical bundles. Everything is finished at the time of death. So these are the viewpoints which persons have. Generally, लोगों को लगता है कि ऐसा, but spiritually it is not like. Spiritual point of view is we are not the material body or a flesh or a bones. We are spirit soul engaged in this material body. So you see all these bodies which are different animals. There are 84 lakh species. So there are so many living entities with so many bodies, different bodies, and every living body is moving just because there is a presence of soul. We do not die when material body stops functioning. So the external body stops functioning, but then soul does not die. Soul remains permanent. How? Just as a bird is trapped in the cage, the soul is trapped in the body, made up of 5 elements. So this body, when we are talking, is matter, matter, matter. What it is made up of? It is made up of 5 elements. Which are those? Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So this whole body is made up of these 5 elements. This is something which is very, very important, which we also call Pancha Mahabhut. So this body is made up of Pancha Mahabhut. And then this is just an external thing which is made up of Pancha Mahabhut. Then there is internal body and there is soul inside it. Not knowing their real identity as the soul, the people spend all their life in polishing the cage, pampering the body without feeding the soul. Can you stay home? So this particular lady which you see in the picture, so this lady had a nice parrot and she was rich lady, so she wanted to have a golden cage for her parrot. And she said, oh, I'll go and get it. She made a golden cage. And after making a golden cage, she said, I studied with the diamonds and rubies and pearls and everything. And she started studying all of it. And then she was so much attached to the cage, she started caring for that cage. It's a golden cage with a lot of opulent things. So every day she used to polish that cage. While doing all of this, she used to spend hours together polishing the cage, maintaining the cage, protecting the cage, all of that. And while doing all of that, she forgot to give, peru to that the parrot inside. And then, she did not put water to that parrot. And this went on from 1 day, 2 days, 1 week, 2 weeks. And then after 2 weeks, there was no sound coming out anywhere. Otherwise, if you see a very trained parrot in the house, hello, welcome, how are you, how do you do? We speak about it, all these things. But then this parrot was not making any sound. And then people found that parrot is dead. Parrot is not alive. Why? Because we are polishing this whole body, we are decorating ourselves, we are feeding this particular body, which is necessary. I'm not saying it's wrong. But at the same time, taking care of the soul is very important. So maximum people are thinking this body is all in all, this material identity is all in all, and that's why I will take care of this particular thing, and they forget what is soul. And that's why maximum people are miserable, maximum people are in stress, maximum people are in anxiety. They don't have answers to their questions. They don't have very clear direction in their life. And that's what the direction will, this particular session will give us the direction. So this lady is just pampering the cage, but not taking care of parrot inside. Similarly, we also spend time pampering our body, and we hardly take care of the soul. So this discover yourself. First topic we just covered, am I matter or spirit? Who am I? Soul, and we are spirit. The scientific proofs for the existence of soul. So all our educated guys, you will always say that show us the scientific proof. Explain us how is that true that soul exists. I have not seen. Can you show me? That is a very natural question somebody can have. So this particular slide, this particular session will answer this question also. So scientific proof of the existence, there are 4 things which we are going to study. The first thing is common sense. Second is consciousness. Third is near-death experience and body experience, out-of-body experience. And fourth is reincarnation researches. So these are the 4 things which even scientists have accepted. Yes, according to this, soul exists. So common sense, as I already said, you see this lady who is in the coffin. When a person dies, we say he or she has passed away. Who has passed away? The body is still there. Actually, the soul has passed away. So this is a common sense, if you understand. And yes, this is a dead body. This is a dead matter. You must have seen the dead bodies. When you have seen the dead bodies, there is no life, there is no consciousness, there is nothing. But till the time soul was present, everything was there. consciousness, the second group. So I see red light. So dead matter. So this particular camera is clicking a picture. Is that camera seeing this? That I see a red light? Have you ever heard the sound camera is telling, I see red light and let's go to another location and then we see a green light? No, the camera is there. It does not have a consciousness. And because it does not have a consciousness, it can just do the activity which is programmed. If something is not programmed, it will not do that particular activity. That is not the case with a conscious human being. So this consciousness means to be aware. So consciousness means what is very important is to be aware, thinking, feeling, and willing intentionally. So a conscious person goes through thinking, feeling, and willing. This is very important. Like we also go through this very much in our life. We keep on thinking, we keep on feeling for someone or something, or we keep on willing. We keep, the only thing what we can do is will. No, we keep on desiring something. So this is something a conscious living entity always does, but that is not the case with the unconscious thing. Have you ever seen a person who is a robot? He's doing activities, but have you ever saw a robot thinking? He's sitting at one place and sitting like a thinking man. No, he's not willing. He's not desiring. He's not doing something which is not programmed, or does not have any feelings. But then you see a nice couple who is there. When they become old, then they have old memories and they have all the remembrance, and then they think about their nice time and bad times and good times and everything. So that is a consciousness, and that consciousness is understood. So we understood this particular thing, that the soul is conscious. Now what we are seeing is the third scientific proof of soul's existence. This is called near-death experience, NDE, or out-of-body experience, OBE. So these are the studies which are performed all over the world, especially in the universities in Europe and America, where they found that yes, there is something which is called a out-of-body experience. So there was one person who was taken to ICU, and they were going to operate him, and when he was about to operate, he was unconscious, and then they gave him anesthesia, and then they started cutting his stomach and then some part of the leg and everything, and they removed something from the leg, and then they tried putting it into the stomach, and they put the stitches and all of that. And while doing all these things, the doctor was flirting with the nurse, and they were making jokes, and there were all nonsense talks were going on, all varieties of things were going on, and all this operation, everything happened, and this person came to consciousness. And after coming to consciousness, this person started saying to the doctor, "Doctor, I saw you were flirting with the nurse. Doctor, you used that particular scissor, it was interesting. And then you cut my stomach and you cut my leg, and then you removed something from my leg, and then you packed that particular thing on my stomach. And when you were putting the stitches, you made the stitches strong, and then you removed it. And again, the doctor was shocked. Hey, what are you saying? How do you know? Hey, whether there was some camera in the room? No, there was no camera. How is that possible? He said, I saw everything. I went up, and then I was observing from the the lights which were there, and I was also there, and I saw. And doctors were shocked. And this is called as an out-of-body experience. So people have gone through these experiences, and there are thousands of experiences recorded where people are out of their body, or people could observe. So this particular thing, you see the person is out of his body and he's observing what is going on. And these are real stories. So 11 to 40% of the average American population who are mentally or physically healthy have had OBA. OBA is out-of-body experience. So you can Google it. You can see near-death experience and out-of-body experience. You will find so many examples and so many proofs. So near-death experience, somebody faced a terrible accident and admitted to the hospital. He about to leave his body in such a stage, out of body, the brain is stopped working, the heart is stopped working, and then he's about to die, and then suddenly he's seeing all of this, he's going to leave, and suddenly by the grace of God he's alive. And so that is a near death experience. He has just seen the death close by, he's about to die, but he did not die. So when he's dying, he saw the changes, he saw the differences, and he saw there is matter and there is a spirit. So there are enough researches in ND, that is near-death experience, with the applicable scientist credential. So this is Dr. Michael Shavon. He's a cardiologist and professor. He speaks about this. So you see, there are so many books talks about journey of soul, out of body experience, near death experience. There are so many like that. So it is not something one story or some fiction, or like our scriptures unfortunately called as what they say mythology. It's not something myth. It is not at all a myth. It is a real fact. Then the fourth thing about the scientific proof is about the reincarnation. This is also something which is very interesting, and nobody was thinking so much about this. Around 100 years before, people were believing yes, reincarnation happens. But as soon as the modernization increased, as soon as the scientific theories and scientific-based activities increased, so similarly, people started asking, no, there is nothing called reincarnation. Like I said, body changes, the soul transforms from one body to another body. We saw that like from childhood to the old age, there is so much of transformation. Similarly, when the person dies, the soul transforms from that dead body, to another body. He attends a different body. So when you go and tell this, people don't believe. They say, "Kisne dekha hai? Who has seen?" We have not seen. And that's why this reincarnation theory was never accepted. Till the time, so many proofs came ahead. So the past life memory is one thing which is, so there are these professors from University of Virginia. They say they have investigated 3,000 cases. It's not one, two, 3,000 cases where they could find they saw the past life memories. What is this past life memories? That person who is living, like Krishna is living in this life, but then he suddenly remembers everything of his previous life. That he was a king in the last life, and then he had few queens, and then he had so many things. And then he's shocked. Will you be peaceful when you remember this Krishna? Not if you remember all of this. So there are people who have seen this past life things. So we'll see a few examples of this past life memories. Again, there are hundreds of books for these past life memories also about reincarnation. Phobias are related to the mode of death at the person whose life is being remembered. So people go through phobia. Somebody has a phobia of height. Somebody has phobia of water. So पानी देखने का डर लगता है, height देखने का डर लगता है. There are so many phobias people have because they have gone through those experiences in life, and because of this experience, they suffer or they get this phobia. If a previous life ended with the stabbing, then there would be a phobia of bladed weapon. If ended with the shooting, then phobia of firearms. Difference in temperament of the twins proven through soul. Even though the identical twins are physically born by the splitting of the single egg from the same genetic material, they may have striking contrast in temperament. The difference is temperament is because two different souls reincarnated in two different bodies that are generally identical. So this is a story. Now let's watch this video.
They have the same name and boyish good looks. James M. Houston, raised in the Midwest. James M. Leininger, a young boy from the Bayou. Whoa!
There's something in the eyes. It's undeniable.
That's not all they share.
Somehow James Houston's spirit has affected my son, either through reincarnation. I don't know how it happened.
I can read the Japanese his paw.
Initially, what caught my attention was James's extreme fascination with airplanes.
And every night he slept with his G.I. Joe action figures, which he named. Here's one video. While the other kids casually look at the plane, 2-year-old James seems to inspect it. Watch as he checks the underbelly, then climbs inside, donning the headset.
I said, "Oh, look, there's a bomb on the bottom." He said, that's not a bomb, that's a drop tank.
Bouncing about in the cockpit, James was flying high. That night, their world would change forever.
He started having the nightmares, and that was my first indication that there was something wrong. It was a panic-stricken, terrorized screaming.
Over and over again, James had the same terrible nightmare, 4 to 5 times a week. He was too young to explain the dream, but he could try.
Ships, he seemed parachuting, planes dropped bombs.
He would just be crying. He'd say, airplane crash on fire, the little man can't get out. He laid on his back and kicked up at the ceiling, and he goes, no, the little man's going like this. And he laid on his back and kicked his feet up. The little man's going, ooh, 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 can't get out. And I said, well, who's the little man, baby? And he goes, me. I thought Bruce and I were just going to faint. Big question. What kind of plane? Why did your airplane crash?
Plane was shot dead.
Who shot your plane?
He looked at me like I was a village idiot. He said,
The Japanese. And I kept thinking, where's he getting this? I was a stay-at-home mom, so I knew that there wasn't anything that he was being exposed to, not exposed to in this life, but perhaps, just maybe, somebody else was. Decades earlier, James Houston grew up with the same insatiable fascination with airplanes. He became a naval fighter pilot in the World War II. March 3rd in 1945, during a mission near Iwo Jima, he took a direct hit. At age 21, was declared missing and presumed dead.
where did he take off from a boat?
Do you remember the name of your boat? He said Natoma.
Several thousand hits on the word Natoma.
The USS Natoma Bay launched into battle, headed for Iwo Jima in the fight for Lady Golf.
It's the biggest naval battle in the history of the world.
Leo Pyatt served on the ship. From his home in Ohio, he organizes the Natoma Bay reunions. That's how Bruce found him.
I wanted to disprove it.
He asked a few questions about, did I know some of the people? Oh yeah, I remember those people. And so he got very quiet.
It's all real. The people and places James described actually existed. And remember those G.I. Joe dolls that James named? Turns out 3 men with the same names, first and last, served on the Natoma and were killed in action. James said they greeted him in heaven after his crash.
I'd always asked him, do you remember what your name was? And he always said James. But his name is James.
Yes, there was a Jim Houston, or rather large shell, just hit him in the engine, and it burst into flames and went out.
They showed Leo the drawings.
I'm sure in my mind that he was there.
Leo invited James, now 3, to the reunion. James recognized several pilots, even called them by name.
You're Bob Greenwald. I'm serious.
He never met Bob Griffin,
No, he never met him before.
and someone else was invited. James Houston's sister, Anne.
And he goes, but it's not Anne, it's Annie. She wasn't my oldest sister. I had an older sister than that. And I said, you did? Who was that? And he goes, Ruth. I mean, Ruth.
Annie is what they called me when I was little, knowing my name and my sister's name, things that my brother did when he was a kid. It's too amazing to describe how he would feel that way, but he does. He considers me his sister.
But does she consider James her brother?
I think it's probably a reincarnation of my brother.
Suzanne Stratford, St. Louis.
You see, like this, there are so many stories. So this particular gem story we see. In the story of James, we see that how he was reincarnated, and then how he was a fighter pilot, and then how he remembered all of that. Similarly, there is this story of Shukla Gupta also. So the Shukla Gupta was also remembering her past life. So this is a small baby named Shukla, and she remembered her past life. In that past life, she described everything, where she was living, which village she was staying. So all those descriptions are also explained. So when Shukla was a little more than 5, Sri Sen Gupta and 5 other members of his family journeyed with her to Bhatpara, where they arrived. Shukla took the leave Avoiding various possible wrong turns, she brought them straight to the house of the Sri Amritlal Chakravarti, allegedly her father-in-law in her past life. So she remembered her life. Not she was just a small baby, but then she took them exactly to the house, and then she saw, and in that house, Shikla recognized her previous lifetime house, her mother-in-law, brother-in-law, husband, daughter, everyone indicated that Sri Haridharan Chakravarti as her husband. The nicknames as well of the real, uh, and as well as the real name of her brother-in-law, everything she remembered. So these are the famous scientists who believe in reincarnations. And what they say, finding myself to exist in the world, I believe I shall in some shape or other always exist. Those souls who revolted against the God were placed here to transmigrate through the various species of animal, birds, and reptiles. I am confident that there truly is such a thing as a living again and living spring from dead. So even the scientists are also accepting that yes, there is a transformation of a soul from one body to another body. The body is matter and the soul is spirit, and that's what is a very important thing. So when we are studying this, we should also study the fourth thing, that is mechanism of mind. The difference between the living person and the robot. We'll speak more about this particular thing. So, this particular question may arise in the mind of a current generation. Is a man not just a powerful computer or robot? Like, there is a powerful computer. There are excellent computers which come. When was the computer founded? Was 1991. Before that, it was, I believe, in 1954. The first computer made. The first computer which was made was having a size of this particular room. That was the big computer, which was the first founded as research. And then, it went on becoming so slow, so small, that everything is available in this screen. So can you imagine? There is so much, what is it? The advancement because of the science. But then, are we this computer? Are we this, just, this mobile? No. A human is not just a powerful computer. Why? Because computer needs command. The commands are given by someone who is conscious, who is alive. And that's why is a man not just a powerful computer and a remote? If this is a question, no, sir, that's not. So this is the example. It is spoken about the drama recorded by camera. And there is a drama observed by the judges, the panel of judges who are sitting and observing the drama. So the computer, there is a camera also, and there are judges also. They are in the same line. But then there is a different understanding of both the things. There is, these emotions are being expressed. The lenses in the camera and the eyes of the judges. The same thing. The camera lenses all looks like eyes, and then the eyes of the judges. They are also the same thing. But the lenses in the camera does not have experience. But the eyes of the judges have experience. Yeah, have you seen movies? When you go to movies, you find so many people come out of the movie and they're crying, they're weeping, they're shocked, they're happy. There's so many emotions they express. Why? Because there is experience which a man understands. But the camera lenses, they are there. They are there for the 24 hours, and you don't see a camera crying. You don't see a camera jumping. Yay! I got it. And what's so wonderful? No. There is no experience, there is no emotion. And the eyes of the judges have experience and emotion. There is no consciousness, but the eyes of the judges have consciousness. And the camera does not judge. Have you seen the camera saying that you get 10 marks, you get 20 marks? No, it does not judge. It's there, it's just quiet. So it's very important to understand that a matter cannot be active. But the person who possesses soul is active. So there was, this is Swami Prabhupada, founder of ISKCON. There are so many modern scientists and then so many educated people all over the world ask so many questions to him. So this was a question asked to him, Swamiji, I think our body is just a complex machine that gets worn out and crashes. Why should we bother about some soul powering the body? Prabhupada answering very nicely. Does your car or a computer grow? Do you have a male or female car that can unite and produce a baby car? For that, is that possible? No. A living body undergoes 6 changes, whereas the matter just depreciates. It is the soul that makes living body alive. It is the soul that makes a living body alive. That's very important. So, which are those 6 transformations which Prabhupada is talking about? We have to switch future slide. So there are 3 major differences between the living body and the robot. One, a living body undergoes 6 changes, while matter only withers. Like you see something like take example of wood. It is kept in the suppose outside or in the rainy season, winter season, and summer season. It dwindles. It will completely worn out. But then a body has 6 changes. So what are those 6 changes? We'll see that. Second, a male and female living body can multiply similarly, similar species. Machines cannot reproduce by union. Third, living body has a consciousness, and what it is, thinking, feeling, willing, while matter has no consciousness. So whenever there is a consciousness, there are 3 things. Always remember: thinking, feeling, and willing. While the matter does not. So we'll see this in more detail. So living body undergoes 6 changes. What are the 6 changes? First, birth. Happy birthday to you, we say. So it's a birth, which is the first change in the living body. Second is growth. It goes on becoming, and then you go and see Baba, black sheep, and all of that. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then we go ahead, and then there is maintenance. There's a phase of maintenance which goes on. Then the third is production of byproducts. Fourth and fifth is dwindling, it becomes old, and then sixth is the death. So these are the 6 transformations which every human being or every living entity goes through. That is not the case with Nirjiva, it is the case with Sajiva. But from the birth to death, there are total 6 changes which happens in the body: birth, growth, maintenance, production, dwindling, and death. So if somebody is saying that we are just a computer, the very simple thing that computer starts operating, you don't see computer saying that I have become, I'm in the growth situation, I'm in a maintenance situation, I'm in a dwindling situation, I'm in a dead situation. No, start and dead. That is what happens in the computer situation. So we are not computer. We go through changes. The body also goes through changes, and those changes are observed. Those changes are seen through the transformation of the soul. So this mechanism of mind is a very important concept for our daily life. So when we say who are we should very importantly understand this particular way. The soul is covered by the gross and subtle bodies. So as we saw that this matter, this external body, which is made up of Pancha Mahabhut, which are the 5 things which body is made up of? Jal, Agni, Vayu, Earth, Prithvi, Jal, Agni, Vayu, and Akash. Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. These are the 5 things. So similarly, you see the title: the soul is covered by the gross and the subtle cover. So the gross body is made up of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. While the subtle body is also very important to see. So you see this is a gross body: earth, water, fire, ether. Then there is a subtle body which we can't see. Subtle means sukshma, which we cannot see. So this subtle body is made up of what? There are 3 things. That is mind, intelligence, and false ego. The subtle body is made up of these 3 things. And inside that is what is our self, that is soul. And the soul is eternal, soul is full of knowledge, and it is full of bliss. Sat Chit Ananda. This is the character of the soul. So it goes on becoming from gross to subtle, subtle to much more subtle, which we cannot see. So the intelligence is a decision maker, mind is a store of the thought, unfulfilled desires, and previous experiences, and there are 5 senses. So there is a nice analogy which comes in the scripture of a chariot and chariot driver. So there is a chariot driver, then there is a passenger sitting in the chariot, and there are horses, which is very important. So chariot has a horses, there's a chariot driver, and the passenger sitting in the chariot. So we'll see this particular example. So you see there are five horses to this chariot. Which are those 5 horses? They are our senses, knowledge acquiring senses, which are called Gyanendriyas. So there is nose, ear, tongue, skin, and eyes. These are the 5 senses. So these 5 senses, what they do? They keep on acquiring knowledge. Like, you go walk on the street and then your eyes are observing some people walking and talking, some billboards are there, and you keep on clicking pictures. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this, that particular thing is stored. Your nose is smelling something, that is stored. Your ears are hearing something, that is stored. Your tongue is tasting something, that is stored. Some touch is happening, that particular thing is also stored. So that's why these senses are called as the knowledge acquiring senses. So these 5 horses are knowledge acquiring senses. And to these 5 horses, there are 5 senses. So the ropes in this chariot, so you understand this analogy very well. This is very important to drive your life. This is the chariot of our life. So the ropes in this to these horses is what? Is mind. And a person who is driving the chariot is our intelligence. And the passenger who is sitting is soul. So imagine the intelligence is very weak. It does not have any knowledge. It has never studied who are we, never asked this question, who am I, what am I supposed to do? And it's just going on, living his life. So intelligence is very weak. So if the chariot driver is very weak, will he control those ropes? Is the reins of the chariot? No. That means mind is not controlled. When the mind is not controlled, what will happen with the horses? One horse is saying that I want to go to Joshiwadewala, I'll go there. And second horse will say that I want to go and watch Sayara, I'll go there. The third horse will say that I want to touch something and I'll go there. So the 5 horses are going in 5 different directions. Will the chariot be stable? No. If the chariot is not stable, who will suffer? Is I, that is soul, who is the passenger. So that's why the intelligence has to be very much strong in our life. And that intelligence can be strong, made strong through these sessions of Discover Yourself and the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. And that's why I request every one of you to be present here so that we will get more and more knowledge, so that our intelligence is strong, by which we can control the reins, the ropes of the mind, which are mind, and the horses are in control, and our chariot of life can very happily go on. So Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bandhura Atmanastasya Yena Enatmaiva Atmajitaha Ananta Anatmanastu Saturvetve Vartate Atmavai Saturvat. For him who has conquered the mind is the best friend. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. So that's why mind is something which is very, very strong. And this mind need to be controlled. If it is not controlled, we will never understand the knowledge and we will be never peaceful. And that's why we must study the mechanism of mind. So what is the nature of mind? In a chariot thing, if it is controlled, it will be your best friend. If the mind, the reins are controlled, it will take your chariot very properly. It will be your best friend. But if it is uncontrolled, this will be the situation, and it will be your greatest enemy. That's why the mind has to be controlled. Can the mind be controlled? Yes, mind can be very well controlled. So, see this example. Mind is compared to a knife. Surya, mind is compared to a knife. What happens? If the knife is the knife good or bad? Can somebody tell? Is the knife good?
A person who is
Yes, the person who is handling is very important. If it is in the hand of surgeon, it can save life. But if it is in the hand of a murderer, miscreant, it will end the life. The knife is good or bad? It depends on the person who is operating. Similarly, the mind is good or bad? It depends on a person who is controlling it. And that's why this Gigo principle is very important. Anyone of you know what is Gigo principle? Any guess? It's just a short form. Easily you can understand. Somebody from online also can answer. Yes, it is garbage in, garbage out. So if we are putting garbage inside our mind, what will come out is just a garbage. GI is garbage in, GO is garbage out. So, we are putting a lot of things. Some friends are coming and telling that, hey, this relationship is nice, let's enjoy, let's drink and smoke. We are allowing it to come. And then it is going to go out. What is going to happen? Yeah, we become a drunkard, we become a womanizer, we become so many. But then it can be changed also. Good in, and then what will happen is good out. GI, GO. So we have to have good in. The input has to be good. Then output will be good. That's very important. And then what is the output? What is in is books we read, the movies we watch, the music we hear, and friends we keep. So it is said in English, you are what you take in. आप उस प्रकार से व्यक्ति बनते हो जो चीज आप अंदर लेते हो. And that's why we have to be very important. We have to always observe and think about this. What am I allowing to come inside myself? So these five senses are always gathering things. So we should obstruct. We should stop them. We should say no. And we should allow only good things inside. So mind feels that I'm an engineer. I should know how to hold the cigar in my hand. Smoking makes me feel cool. Like there are somebody came to me and said that in my life the girl I got attracted towards me just because the way I hold the cigar in my hand. So it makes you feel cool. Is it really making you cool? No. But then this is happening because the mind is thinking, yeah, it's making me cool. But the intelligence thinks, but that is a bad habit, not good for me. Your parents won't like to see you doing this. You may become addicted to it. Don't get into it. Wrong path. So, my dear friends, this is what the dialogue which goes on every time in our life. When you are doing something good, there is no dialogue. But as soon as we go and do something bad, there is a dialogue. No, this is not good. Don't do it. There's a voice which comes. It says, "Nahi." But then mind says, "Hey, ek baar to kar le." Like bar thodi hoti hai. And then this dialogue is always, this fight is always going on. And that's why the call of voice of intelligence has to be very strong. Then only our life can be really peaceful. So the mechanism of mind is very important. And the next thing is, which is the last thing, is the practical benefits of knowledge of soul in everyday life. So you may say that, why am I studying this? Why am I knowing this? There are practical benefits, and we must every day understand this particular thing. And which are those? It's very important. So once somebody knows that he also has a soul, I also have a soul, the elephants also, the dogs also have a soul. So there will be universal brotherhood because of this thing. So this brings a universal brotherhood. What divides us? Hindu, Muslims, Bharat, Pakistan. It divides us. You're walking on the street, you see somebody with a cap, you immediately say, "Polo." So it is dividing us. But as soon as you see the souls are present, I should not harm. Somebody is having that mentality. There is a division of white and black, there's rich and poor, the educated and illiterate, beautiful and ugly. And a few years back there was Brahman and Shudra and so many. So there was a division. So this is all what is our identity of a body. So as soon as we get this knowledge, I'm a soul, we will not differentiate. We will not say somebody is black coming in front of you or white coming next to you. We will not differentiate. Or if somebody is ugly or beautiful, we will not differentiate. We'll always have a brotherhood towards them. We'll always have a very good feeling together. So this is what divides us, which is a bodily consciousness. But what unites us? Now you see this, you must have seen there are Europeans and Americans and Russians, Chinese, everybody, there are whites and blacks. They come together and dance. Like if you go to America, there is racism. Black and white don't go together. But then you come to Hare Krishna, then ISKCON, you see black, white, small, tall, everyone, beautiful, ugly, everyone dancing together, living together. So consciousness or knowledge of the soul will unite us. People from all walks of life come together for a higher cause, knowing that we are not these superficial bodies, but the spirit soul. Like the driver is different from the soul consciousness will help us to have a brotherhood. Rising above inferiority complex. I'm black, short, ugly. Will anybody look at me too? I hardly get a good rank. I have no talent in sport. I come from a poor family. I do not know whether I will earn my degree, pass out of the college. Life does not seem worth living because I'm not like any of the great heroes. So you see somebody really handsome, a man who is like an actor, and then you see one black, I'm short in height, and you go in depression. You really get an inferiority complex. Why? Because you are identifying yourself with this body. But as soon as you have this knowledge of soul in a day-to-day life, you will say, I'm not this body, but I'm a pure soul with the abundant potential. My defects are superficial appearing in the body, but not a part of a happy and healthy soul. My heart is full of love, joy, sincerity, and compassion for others. So soul consciousness is going to always make us peaceful. And that's why we need to be soul conscious. The positive outlook and the attitude towards the life which everybody hankers for. Am I right? But we always hanker for positive outlook. So this particular knowledge of soul will always bring us to positive outlook and the attitude of life. We'll also have a right use of resources. This person is having a money. I have put this many dollars and in a Swiss bank, and I have so much money. I can enjoy. I can move in cars. I enjoy. But then a person who is having a soul consciousness is looking at a cow. They are suffering without food, so he's arranging. As he's living, being like a brothers and sisters. He's treating every living as a brother and sister. It's not unnecessarily feeling them out. So we will use resources very rightly. So what we saw in today's session, we'll just see summary. I am not this matter. I am a spirit soul. Second thing, our body is worth 110 rupees. We saw body versus soul, material versus spiritual viewpoint, and then unseen driver of the bodily car. So who is the unseen driver of the bodily car? So scientific proofs of existence of the spirit soul. There's common sense. Second is consciousness, camera or the living person. Third thing, we saw the near-death experience and out-of-body experience. Fourth is the reincarnation studies. And we saw difference between the living person and a robot from this. Camera or the judges example we saw. Major difference, living body, and the three major differences between the living body and the robot we saw. And the third thing is birth, growth, maintenance, byproducts, dwindling, and death. These are the 6 exchanges of every body. And then we saw mechanism of mind, gross body, subtle body, soul, mind intelligence, false ego chariot analogy, and the controlled and uncontrolled mind, ego principle. So chariot analogy and ego principle, I hope everybody will remember. Practical benefits of knowing the soul, that universal brotherhood, rising above the inferiority complex, positive outlook and the attitude in life, and right use of resources. So this is what is today's discussion. Any question? Want to ask something? Want to think and ask something? I hope everybody understood today's discussion. So this particular thing is really going to help us in everyday life, and that's why this knowledge is very important. And this knowledge comes from Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is talking about that how we are a spirit soul, we are not this body, and then Arjuna should not cry for the dead bodies, and he should continue performing his duty. That's very important. And when we perform this duty, we are happy. Anybody from online wants to ask any question? So, Digvijay, any question?
No, Prabhu, understood.
So we'll stop here. Thank you. Thank you for being here online.